Guys, what's going on? It's me, it's Guns. We're here doing a Chiefs versus Panthers game review. You've seen the Chiefs come out and they got challenged today. They got challenged by a really good Carolina Panthers team, but the Chiefs do come through. They hold on to the victory, 33-31. I do have to admit I was biting my nails, and I got a hats off to the Carolina Panthers. They kind of threw the kitchen sink at us. They really they pulled out all the stops. They were going for it on fourth downs, fourth and longs. They were putting their bodies on the line. They were kind of bringing a little more effort than I felt the Chiefs were for most of the game. And some of those crazy things and crazy choices that they went with actually kind of kept them in this ball game. So I just want to quickly go ahead and take a look at the scoreboard. As you can see, the Chiefs 33-31. Mahomes, he shines again. I mean, this guy, he's 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 788 yards over the last 2 games. Again, today, 30 of 45, 372 and 4 touchdowns, 2 of those of which went to Hill. Also Kelce, big day, 10 catches, 159 yards. He just seems to continue to show up each and every week. He's always kind of that guy in that spot right where we need him, and he did just that again today. And then Hill, 9 catches, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns. It really seemed like the Chiefs were making a concerted effort to get Hill the ball in this game. I'm not quite sure exactly how many targets he had, but I know that was in the mid-teens, if not upper teams. They were throwing the ball to Hill a lot. He did come up with 9 of those grabs for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, got loose on the long touchdown throw to Hill. I'm not really sure how he got that wide open, but of course we'll take that each and every time if they let the cheetah run loose. Also, you've seen Jones, you've seen Clark each come up with a sack. Now the defense didn't play particularly well in this game. It was sloppy at times, but at the same time we knew that we were getting the best shot from the Carolina Panthers, and this offense is not a terrible offense. They don't have a lot of star power. However, they quietly have the best receiving duo in the league. If you watch the game, you've probably seen that graphic with Robbie Anderson and Moore. Those guys are actually raking it in, and as you can see, Bridgewater's relying on them. I did notice that the game plan against this Chiefs defense was to throw that short, those short passes, intermediate passes, and let them run for it until it got later in the game. And then, of course, they opened that playbook. And that drive that brought them really close there, where Bridgewater had ran for it on fourth and long, picked up the first down, put his body on the line. I mean, they made almost like three of the best plays I've seen all season on that one drive. I mean, that really kept them in it, and like I said, hats off to them. I mean, they did what they had to do. They were doing onside kicks, fake punts. I mean, that's kind of how you beat the Chiefs. But that also goes to show you that this Chiefs team is like, you have to just come with things out of the box and just throw everything you can just to stay in the game with this Chiefs team. But the Chiefs were able to get it done and hold on. Now, looking at Bridgewater's stats, 36 for 49, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a pretty stellar game. Also, again, using his legs to make plays whenever the game was on the line. McCaffrey, his first game back from injury. He missed the previous 6 games. He gave it a go today, and he looked really good. He looked really fresh. He didn't do that great in the running game, but he did have 10 catches for 82 yards, and he did get a reception touchdown as well as a rushing touchdown. However, he did kind of look a little banged up again there at the end of the game. He went to the sideline kind of when the game was on the line, which tells me that obviously he was hurting. I think it was maybe a rib thing, but also we have Samuel coming up with 9 grabs, 105 yards, and a touchdown as well. And Franklin got a sack on Mahomes as well. Again, Christian McCaffrey coming back, 18 carries, 69 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, and then the 10 catches, the 82 yards in his return. Okay, so looking at the schedule, we have a bye coming up. That's going to allow, Schwartz to get healthy and Watkins to get healthy, and we got a little bit banged up today, so that's a much-needed bye, which then we're going to follow that up by going on the road. We're going to go to the Raiders, and then we're going to go to the Bucs, both of which are going to be tough games. Obviously, we know that this Raiders team, can definitely hang with us. They can definitely give us some problems, and they've proven that to us. And so we are going to have a tough game coming up with them, as well as the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks are kind of that NFC team that everybody's kind of looking at as, that team that could really make that playoff, deep playoff run and that Super Bowl run with Brady and now getting Antonio Brown and so forth. And then looks like we're going to host the Broncos before we go on the road for two more. At Miami, at the Saints. Of course, the Broncos game, we handled them pretty easily there at the beginning of, the first time that we have played them. However, this Broncos team will come back. They will want to prove a point. They will want to show that they're not the doormat of this division, and so they're going to come with some firepower there. And then the Dolphins, their defense has been playing really, really well. So that's going to be a tough matchup, as well as the Saints. They haven't looked like the Saints as of late. They haven't had that super high-powered offense, but they're still quietly getting it done, sitting at 5-2. So we'll see exactly what that kind of matchup looks like here in the next 5-6 weeks. And then we're going to finish up the season here against the Atlanta Falcons and the Chargers. Those are two games you would like to think that we would be able to hold on to and win. However, the games aren't played on paper. They are played on the field, so we will have to see exactly how that turns out there. Okay, so if you're new here, I'd like to you just take a moment to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's free. It helps support this channel so I can do more of these videos and live videos for the Chiefs Kingdom. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look again at some of the stellar play here. Patrick Mahomes again shining. I mean, again, like I've told you, this guy really has stepped on the scene for the MVP race once again. Not that I think that he had ever left the scene, but a lot of people were kind of overlooking him because he set the bar so high for himself there in that 2018 season, and then following that up with a Super Bowl run. So he really set the bar high, which makes it harder for him to get the attention from people, that may be looking in other areas for some variety. That guy was for the most part was Russell Wilson, was getting those nods saying, hey, he's lighting it up. However, the last 3 weeks or so, he's really kind of tailed off, especially this week. No touchdowns once again, 2 more picks, which I think that firmly solidifies Patrick Mahomes as an MVP front runner. I don't really know who you could say right now would be ahead of Mahomes. You could still argue that Russell Wilson would be right there neck and neck. If you look at the numbers, you could argue Aaron Rodgers could possibly be up there. But for the most part, Patrick Mahomes is now kind of neck and neck now with Wilson, with the opportunity to pass him up. And again, this comes off the heels of 2 games throwing for 788 yards and 9 touchdowns, no interceptions, still just the 1 on the season. And again, it's a historic pace for Mahomes. I mean, he's still on pace now to throw for, almost 5,000 yards and 46 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. And if he does that, there's absolutely no way that you can't give Patrick Mahomes the MVP at the end of the season. So really quick, I want to know what you think. So down below in the comments, type 1 if you believe that Patrick Mahomes is currently leading the MVP race, or he should be, and type 2 if you think that it's somebody else, Russell Wilson or anybody else, so the field for number 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look again at Kelce and talk about Kelce's huge day. 10 catches, 159 yards. He did not find the end zone in this one, but that's okay. We had other people finding the end zone, but he was getting us first downs. He was picking up big chunks. He was just kind of there to bail Patrick Mahomes out again when Patrick Mahomes needed that to avoid the rush. And again, you've seen him spectacular yards after catch. I mean, he's catching the ball, he's being met by defenders, but he's not really letting that stop him. He somehow wiggles through off of contact and falls forward for positive yards, and it's a fun thing to watch. And Travis Kelce, again, on another historic pace. I believe he's going to be the first, he will be the first tight end in the NFL history to have 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons, something crazy like that. And he's a touchdown machine. We've really been going to him in the red zone a lot more. He didn't find the end zone this time, as was stated before, but that's okay. We didn't need him to do that. He did what we needed. And also, not to mention, he's a great leader on this team. He's a great blocker for us. Not the best blocking tight end, but he definitely gets the job done. So Travis Kelce, once again, he shows up big for us in a big time game, in a close game where we really needed his clutch moments. So now, when it comes to Chiefs tight ends, I mean, who's the best? I mean, I think it's got to obviously be between Travis Kelce and Tony Gonzalez. But who do you think the best is? I'd have to still lean with Tony Gonzalez, just for the simple fact of the yardage, the longevity, the reliability, all of those things, all of which Kelce has going for him. Just hasn't quite reached that yet. But Travis Kelce has broke a lot of records. He's been very reliable. He's been there in the red zone. He's been a great leader. So that's a toss-up. So again, let's type 1 for Travis Kelce if you think he's the better Chiefs tight end of all time, and let's type 2 for Tony Gonzalez if you feel he's the best Chiefs tight end of all time. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's move forward. Again, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Again, it's free. Turn on notifications. That way you can see all the Chiefs updates as I report them live. So let's go ahead and move on, and let's talk about oh, I forgot to change his name there. So forget that. We know that that's not Travis Kelce. We know that that's Tyreek Hill. Yes, this is my first live show, so inevitably those kind of things are going to happen. But I did get this right. He did have 9 catches. He had 113 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. And that's was really big for the Chiefs. Again, I think that they made part of getting him the ball part of their game plan. I mean, they came out throwing to him probably 5 or 6 times on that first drive. And Mahomes was actually missing him. He could have had another touchdown had Mahomes not missed him, wide open there on the left, going to the left corner of the end zone. But for the most part, he was, again, Johnny on the spot. He was making a lot of people miss. He was, taking the top off. He was keeping people honest. He was drawing attention away from Kelce. He was drawing attention away from McCole Hardman, and he was just kind of doing the things that Tyreek Hill does. He's a nuisance for the defense. I mean, you got to account for him. You got to put safeties over the top of him. You have to have somebody run with him. You've seen when nobody followed Tyreek Hill on the one play what happened, and that's going to happen more often than not if you just kind of let him roam and do his own thing. Okay, so we are now gone through the Chiefs players, and so let's just go ahead and hit the scoreboard and chat screen. And if you have anything you would like to bring up, anything that you would like to talk about as far as the Kansas City Chiefs and their performance today, please let me know. I do want to talk about Christian McCaffrey. I do, you got to give him kudos, right? I mean, he is coming off of being injured, 6 weeks away from the game. He comes back in, he looks really fresh, he looks really strong. He was making people miss, he was breaking tackles. He really didn't look like he was missing a step, especially in the passing game. Again, mentioned he's got the 10 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown, and that's a big contributor. However, I do think that when he's in there, he kind of takes away from their ability to stretch the field. He's kind of taking some of those deep shots, take a shot down the field type of plays away from Anderson and Moore, which have been really good. But you got to give McCaffrey the ball because of the ability and the things that we've seen today. You've seen, again, Samuel stepped up and he made, 9 catches for 105 yards, and it was kind of quietly. It seems like he was just breaking off, 10, 12 yarders here and there, but he was doing it consistently, and it was definitely giving us trouble there on the outside, and those pesky slants and those pesky ins and out routes, those quick hitters. The Panthers really had that going today, and again, I mean, you can't take anything away from these guys. They had brought everything that they possibly could in order to hang with this Kansas City Chiefs team. And if you're a Panthers fan, you can't say anything other than the fact that you're proud that your team showed up and they weren't going to go down without swinging, and that's exactly what happened. No, I am not sponsored by Pepsi, by the way. But so, this is probably one of the hardest fought games that, the Chiefs had, been in quite a while. This is probably one of the hardest, it's one of those games where they had really, it's kind of cliche, but you hear that, hey, you're the Super Bowl champs, or you're the division champs or conference champs, but especially Super Bowl champs, that the next season you're going to get everybody's best shot. And that's exactly what the Chiefs are getting, and exactly what they got with the Carolina Panthers, is they got their best shot. But the Chiefs just kind of seem to find a way to pull these off. Now they came up short against the Raiders, but again, I think that the Raiders game was a lot like that. They kind of pulled out all the stops. They made some bold decisions when it was time to really kind of amp up the pressure. And they played really strong, defense up front. And that's, other than that, I mean, the Panthers didn't do great up front defense. They did slow our running game down. They did keep Patrick Mahomes from really running and doing everything, that he absolutely wanted to do. But they didn't create as much pressure as they needed to. And that's why he ended up with, 372 yards and 4 touchdowns. Okay, so again, if you're new here, and you haven't done so already, please just go ahead and subscribe. You can see right up there, you just click on that bell icon. It's absolutely free. All it does is just help this channel out so that we can continue to make videos like this, and possibly more. This is just the start. So again, this is my first video covering the Kansas City Chiefs. I put this together, after today's game, and I'd like to do more of these, and I can do that. And it would just give me that boost of confidence to keep doing it if you just hit that subscribe button. All right, so again, looking for people that have any kind of questions, comments about today's game, and just gonna again now talk about some of the stuff here unfolding during this season. So again, we have the AFC leaders as of right now: Kansas City at 8-1, Pittsburgh at 7-2, and let's take a look here. NFL, let's take a look at the scores. They were losing. And they are win. The Steelers are currently down 19-15, and that is kind of surprising considering all of the injuries that the Cowboys have went through. They're on their 9th string quarterback. Is that right? Oh wow, Mason Rudolph got into the game. Okay, so they got Garrett Gilbert in. They got Tony Pollard leading for rushing, and they are winning this football game. I don't really know how. You got Roethlisberger with 2 touches. Of course, the looks like the Steelers are not getting any kind of running game going. Juju Smith-Schuster, 6 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Not bad. But I just traded for Chase Claypool, and he has not really done much for me. He does have the 4 catches, 34 yards, and of course I'm talking about fantasy, if you weren't aware. But let's see here. So yeah, so it looks like if somehow the oh wow. Sorry, just reading some comments there. Okay, so let's see. If Pittsburgh ends up somehow slipping on that game and ends up somehow coming up with that W, I can't do 2 things at once. Sorry, guys. Let me pull the scores here again. Okay, if the Steelers end up coming up with that, end up losing that game, and the Cowboys come up with that W, I mean, that's going to knock the Steelers to 7-1. That's going to, again, give the Chiefs the number 1 overall spot in the AFC at the moment, with the weakest remaining schedule in the NFL. And so I like the ring of that. I like that that the Cowboys are playing Pittsburgh tough, because that's something that we really need. Sometimes you need some help, especially in the format that we have this year, with the playoffs changing, adding an extra wild card spot, only one team getting that bye. It's really kind of important that each game matters. It kind of magnifies each game here in the NFL, and that's evident by this one game here. If they can't beat the Cowboys and drop to 7-1, and we go on to, let's say, lose one more, but Pittsburgh loses one more, that game's going to maybe come back to haunt them, and then say, man, we could have won the division. or the conference, had we not slipped up that one game against the lowly Cowboys that we should have absolutely demolished. No, that miser. And then also, taking a look again at the remaining schedule here at 8-1. I mean, I do feel like we'll beat the Raiders the second time. I really don't feel like I can say with a straight face that the Raiders can beat the Chiefs twice in a year, sweep the Chiefs. I mean, possible, yes. Probable, I just would say not really. Okay, so I'm going to say that's a win. So that should put us at 9-1. Now the Bucks, that one could be a really tough game. They're going to be hitting on all cylinders. AB's going to have time to get acclimated with that playbook. Brady's going to get him involved. They're going to have to in order to keep up with the Chiefs' offensive firepower. And then of course you got Gronk in there, and you got all those other guys, Godwin, Evans. Excuse me, as long as everybody stays healthy, that should be a very intriguing matchup. But let's say that we get their best shot, we make a couple mistakes when it really matters, and we lose that game. That puts us at 9-2. And then I think we handle the Broncos, so 10-2. I do think that we should beat the Dolphins. Tua did not look very impressive in his first game. Right now, they're losing against the Cardinals. It's a close game, but Tua's got 186 yards and a touchdown. He has ran 3 for 19, no touchdowns. But I'm not like overly high on Tua. So I just feel like that should be a win. I don't think they'll have the offensive firepower to hang with the Chiefs. So I do think that puts us at, what did that put us at? 9, 10. That would put us at 11-2. Okay, and then going into the Saints, and the Saints, yes, I know they're 5-2. I know they're winning games, and they got a big one tonight against the Bucks. But I do think that we take care of the Saints. I don't think that Drew Brees can win those high, firepower types of games. I just don't think that that's what he is able to do. And then now the Falcons, I do think that we should be able to beat the Falcons as well. It seems like they're always in the game. It seems like they've even had leads in games, but they just can't seem to close those things out. Okay, and then you take a look at the final game against the Chargers. Again, a game that we should win. They played us really close last time, but this is going into the end of the season. They're going to have a lot of motivation, not really there like it was at the beginning of the season. And I just think that the Chiefs are going to kind of be in playoff mode. Now, let's say the Chiefs are, have won all the rest of their games and they're sitting at the top and they're leading Pittsburgh by 2-3 games. Of course, they'd probably rest their starters at least somewhat, and the Chargers could pull that one off, but I'm saying that's probably a win. So I'm going to say that we finish the season 14-2. I think that we finish on top of the AFC. I think that we get that first round bye. And then we're playing, the lower seeds there. That's going to kind of give us a bit of that advantage to advance through those playoff rounds. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the season shakes out. I do think that we can win 14. I think our absolute minimum is 13. I do think we could win the rest of these games. But you're going to have games like this. You're going to have teams show up and they're going to be ready to fight, and they're going to hit you back whenever they get hit in the mouth. They're going to punch right back, and that's what the Panthers did. And I think that some of these teams coming up are going to be taking a page from that playbook and saying, this is what we got to do. We got to make these uncharacteristic decisions and go for these things on fourth downs and fourth and longs, and we have to go the extra mile to secure a loose ball, or every possession matters essentially. And you got to extend your offensive possessions, and you got to find ways to get limit the Chiefs and Mahomes' offensive possessions. And so I think that teams are going to take a page from this and say, okay, we can guard the deep ball. We can then play really tough defense up front. On offense, we have to basically go for everything. We can't stall out. If we're on 4th and 6, we got to go for 4th and 6. We got to do those fake field goals, those fake punts. We got to try those onside kicks. We got to call those plays that we were going to save for the playoffs, but we really want to beat the champs. And so let's pull those out of the bag. And so I think that, a lot of teams are going to be coming into this Chiefs matchup going forward, and trying to duplicate what the Panthers did effort-wise, and then kind of take some of the X and O's things that the Raiders did, and combine those, and hopefully put a good game plan out there against these Kansas City Chiefs. And so, as you can see, no game in the NFL is a cakewalk. The Panthers came in at 3-5, the Chiefs 7-1. You would kind of look at that and say, well, it's in Kansas City, check. Chiefs are on a roll, check. Mahomes has been on fire, check. The defense has been really stellar, check. The McCaffrey's coming back off an injury, he might be rusty. You got the Panthers, losing 3 in a row coming into the game. You got there was just a lot of things pointing to it that you would say, okay, the Chiefs should take care of business here. And it was a one possession game. It was a 2-point game in the end. So that just goes to show you got to show up every single week. And if you don't, then you're risking this, these games being closer than they should. But all right, well, thanks again, guys. If you are new here again and you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, and subscribe and become part of the Chiefs Newswire crew, and catch up on the latest Chiefs games, news, injury reports, roster moves, whatever it is, Kansas City Chiefs. I would love to bring it to you, and you can get it all right here on Chiefs Newswire. So, all right, guys, we'll see you.